It just got very real for the Los Angeles Lakers surrounding one player in particular. As a brand new report has dropped surrounding a trade involving a particular center that has fans fired up. We'll write down that new report and discuss what this means going forward, as well as a few other interesting Lakers updates. But before you get into it all, if you're part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, this is the place to be for daily Lakers content. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thank you guys again for your continued support over here. You guys have been beasts. But folks, had a video a few days ago on the Nikola Vucevic situation, how the Lakers are very intrigued on it, and it just got even more real following a new report that has dropped surrounding the Lakers' pursuit of the center in a very interesting turn of events. So let's just dive right into it here now. Let's start with the report that dropped a couple hours ago. The Lakers are monitoring Nikola Vucevic's situation per Anthony Irwin. This does leave a few interesting free agents still, not even including eventual buyout candidates like Nikola Vucevic. As they did with Smart, the Lakers are closely monitoring that situation. So I'm going to be focusing on a couple different things here. And obviously, Anthony Irwin has been pretty hit or miss this offseason. He's been right about some things, wrong about a lot of things. So take it with a grain of salt as it pertains to that. But we've heard multiple reports in the past from more notable reporters, Brett Siegel, Evan Siddery. The Lakers are still monitoring the market for a center and just monitoring the free agent market in general. But I'm going to be focusing on a part now with the Nikola Vucevic situation that isn't a buyout, because some new reports have dropped this morning as well, revealing that a buyout is not the most likely situation and outcome for Nikola Vucevic. It would be a trade, as the Lakers are open to, still have a ton of their assets left, but are of course interested in making a move for another player. Clearly, they've been involved in a lot of these conversations. Now, if a buyout happens, the Lakers will be at the forefront of the conversations, like they have the entire offseason thus far. Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, all those different guys. However, a trade is still possible here. Now, it doesn't make a ton of sense. I covered it on another video. It's an interesting one for sure, but some rumors have started to drop surrounding a trade involving Nikola Vucevic, because, again, reports have come out that he's probably not going to get bought out, but the Bulls aren't looking for a huge, haul in return. And, among that report from Anthony Irwin before we dive into the trade, this is basically what it said. Lakers are interested and have been talking, about internally Robert Williams III. Other factors that have limited the trade market are the flattened lottery and playoff odds. There are simply fewer sellers right now than before. Talking about how the Lakers, haven't really made a trade, a big one this offseason. And owners of mediocre teams see an opportunity for the play-in or to, win now and do things like that. However, let's dive into a trade that has dropped recently and one that has been circulating. It is Nikola Vucevic, Ayo Dosunmu, and 2 Thunder second-round picks. The Bulls get Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber in the 2025 Sixers first from OKC. And, of course, the Lakers in this trade are giving OKC 2 unprotected pick swaps. So I'm going to be focusing on the Nikola Vucevic aspect of this, and even though the Dosunmu one is arguably even, bigger as a part of this particular trade, but I'll have another video, a full video covering the Ayo one. This is interesting for a few different reasons. Now, let's just assume it's Nikola Vucevic, and we can even take out Ayo for the sake of this, and it's, either the 2031 first or a couple swaps, whatever it ends up being, right? I don't think the Lakers will give up their 2031 first for Nikola Vucevic, but let's just assume in a trade it's Vucevic for salary filler and either, an unprotected swap or something of that nature, right? A pick, whatever. It makes things interesting because Vucevic has extremely high, upside as a, starting center. But again, he's 34 years old. By upside, I mean, he's had years in the past where he's very good. He was very good last year as well, shooting his best percentage from three, of his career, 40.2%, at least given the volume. He is still a very serviceable center. He started almost every game that he's played in the NBA aside from his rookie season. And of course, the Lakers, they don't need necessarily a starting center. You have DeAndre Ayton as your starting center. If you're requiring Nikola Vucevic, would you start him instead of Ayton and have Ayton off the bench? Like maybe, but I think Ayton signed with the Lakers to get an opportunity to earn himself, a starting spot on this team and all these different things. If you have Vucevic off the bench, you instantly become a much, bigger contender. And that might be a hot take. He's obviously not very good defensively or anything like that. You have Jackson Hayes to be that energy, defensive-minded center, because that's the polar opposite of what Nikola Vucevic is. It's arguably, fairly opposite of what DeAndre Ayton is. He'll give you ability to stretch the floor, whether that's with Luka Doncic, whether that's with Austin Reaves, whether that's with the bench unit. He can stretch the floor, he can rebound very well, and he can pass the ball very well. That's what Nikola Vucevic does. Not a great defender, not very quick on his feet, will get abused in the pick and roll defensively, but you can use him in the pick and pop offensively and be very good. And he's used to being a high volume shooter, and obviously that would change for, the Lakers, because obviously you have so many other players on the team that can shoot. But the article goes on to say how the trade helps the Lakers. Kruger noted the 3-team trade would also open up 2 roster spots. This would really round out the Lakers nicely. Vucevic and Ayton would instantly be one of the top big men pairings in the Western Conference. And of course, Dosunmu would be a great secondary ball handler behind Luka, and we're bringing another defensive weapon to the Lakers. I love the Ayo Dosunmu possibility and proposition there. I'll have a full video covering that again. But for the for the Lakers, it becomes very, very intriguing. You're giving up, and for the sake of argument, like you wouldn't probably give up, your unprotected swaps or your pick for Vucevic if it's just Vucevic straight up. Most of the value in this trade would be for Ayo Dosunmu. But if they're just making a move for Nikola Vucevic, whether that be via buyout, whether that be via a trade where you get rid of some of your salary and a second round pick, they have 1 second round pick they can trade, or maybe one unprotected pick swap or a protected pick swap, whatever it ends up being, I don't hate it. And again, the negatives is Vucevic is a one-sided player. For everything incredible he gives you offensively, he takes away from the team on defense. Giving up 2 unprotected pick swaps with a team that is likely to have the worst picks in the NBA in the few years is definitely risky. The Lakers wouldn't really be giving up any key bench players, and that's a big thing. And that's why, again, I'm just using this as kind of a framework. I'm curious to see what you guys think about it, specifically the Nikola Vucevic part of this deal. Because at the end of the day, there are reports, it just got very real that they're interested in him. It's a matter of whether or not the Lakers are able to get him via buyout, which seems unlikely, whether they'd want to give up a second round pick and salary picks from him, which I think would be pretty good. Do the Bulls want to just get off his contract and are willing to take a second round pick? The Lakers have one available. I think that's the most likely outcome. Like, yeah, probably still Vando, Kleber, Gabe Vincent, whatever the salary is to match up, which makes a ton. And there's not a ton of teams out there that have as many expirings as the Lakers do, and that's what makes this trade so interesting. They have so many expirings: Gabe Vincent, Maxi Kleber, Jared Vanderbilt. A salary they can match up. It makes the Nikola Vucevic trade actually likely here if they all decide to go that route. Now, of course, I would prefer them go after a 3-and-D wing. I would prefer them go after a guy like Andrew Wiggins, Herb Jones, all those different guys. But as the article said, like, they aren't really, there isn't a seller's market right now for those players. A lot of the teams that are on the outside looking in think they can get involved next season, via the playing game or anything like that. So that's what makes things even more interesting for this Lakers team. And at the end of the day, they have a lot of work to do with the team still. I think it's pretty much mostly set in stone. You have that starting lineup. I don't think they're going to get rid of Rui Hachimura. I would like to see Marcus Smart probably start instead of Austin Reaves, which might be a crazy take. We're seeing some big things with Jake LaRavia. I'm expecting a big improvement this year for Bronny James, and we'll have a thing in him in a minute. But I think Bronny is going to be a guy who probably plays some sort of minutes to see if it can develop into a very good player. So let me know down below, do you want to see Nikola Vucevic? Do you think he fits? I would not do it for, the first or pick swaps. If you're getting Ayo Dosunmu back, maybe like a really good 3-and-D guard, or a really good, point of attack defender guard who's a really good facilitator. Could be the backup point guard, completely run the bench unit. But for the actual Lakers, like, if you're going after Vucevic alone, second round pick, maybe one swap. But that'll wrap that section up. One other thing here, JJ Redick recently spoke out about Bronny, and you can see there in the bottom paragraph, the biggest thing for Bronny is that he has to get into elite shape. That's a barrier of entry for him right now. And if he does that, I think he gets a chance to be a really fantastic player in the NBA. There's going to be guys that can score 15, 20 a game, Bronny James said. I'm most likely not going to be that guy right now. I've got to be a defensive menace. And to see this, these comments, all these different things, confidence inducing from JJ Redick, I think this team's in very, very good shape going forward, especially as it pertains to specifically their development of Bronny James. So that'll wrap it up. Let me know down below. Do you want to see Nikola Vucevic? Do you want to see Ayo Dosunmu? We'll have a video coming on that soon. Thank you guys for watching. Do you want to see Nikola Vucevic in a Lakers jersey?